What fuzzy critter that kids love to play with could tell you what the weather will be in the winter? What does the moon have to do with snow? What sunrise indicates incoming storms? What did the aftermath of an ice storm sound like? Find out on this episode. Welcome to Writing Bro with Allie. I'm Allie, and this is episode number 40, 5 Ancient Ways to Predict Weather, Part 1. Let's get into this. There are many ways that people predicted weather long before modern radars and your friendly local weathermen. From the beginning of mankind, we have tried to guess what the weather will do, and in doing so, we picked up patterns that helped us to understand what weather might happen and prepare. Today, I will share 5 of them. Number 1, the rhyme about red skies. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the most well-known weather prediction is the old sailor rhyme. It goes, red at night, sailors delight. Red in the morning, sailors take warning. As far as I can tell, it was first recorded in history with shepherds, not sailors, but it has since changed the wording. In fact, in the Bible, there is even mentions of red skies in the book of Matthew. Matthew 16, 2 through 3, to be precise. However, the point of the rhyme remains the same. The science behind this is that when sunlight has to pass through more clouds, the sunset or sunrise looks red. Now, they also say that because more clouds are not a guarantee of bad weather, since clouds could be headed in any direction, because of wind. So, it has to be wrong. But the rhyme says to take warning, as in be on watch. It didn't scream, danger, danger! So, I will let you make your own mind up. But whatever you decide, it is still likely a well-known saying. Number 2, woolly bear caterpillars. These are caterpillars that live across Canada, the United States, and Mexico. They have 2 color bands, black and a reddish brown. Both ends will be black and the reddish brown will be in the middle. And yes, they are cute and fuzzy looking, but are not quite as soft as they look. Kids love to play with them. They are believed to be able to predict what the weather will be like. Warm and mild, cold and wet. Now, I went for a search of this on the internet, and it was crazy. Everyone talking about what each band meant. No one could agree on what that was. So I will tell you what I grew up with, and if you want to know what the others say, I will leave you some links in the show notes. My Native American grandmother told me that the more black that you see on them, the colder and wetter the winter will be. The more brown you see, the warmer it will be. Now, you'd have to see them every year to know what was a lot and what was a little, since they're only about 1.5 inches long. But to give you a rough idea, think of it in halves. If approximately half or more of the body length were brown, then you're going to have a mild winter. If approximately half or more of the body length is black, it will be cold, and you should expect snow. Now, I'm not going to be claimed to be old, like Dad. Sorry, had something in my throat. But I will say that I have always found this to hold true. In fact, one year I found woolly bears to be totally black. That had never happened before. That was also the same year that we had an ice storm with 12 inches of ice overnight. And some of us spent months without power. I still remember listening to the trees break under the weight and slide down the hill, crashing into more trees and having an avalanche effect. It was loud and sounded like a war movie, but felt more like a horror movie. Our trees were never the same after that. Number 3, persimmons. Persimmon trees can be found throughout most of the world, with China being the largest persimmons producer. The persimmons are often labeled as nuts, but it is technically a fruit. Who knew? The fruit this tree grows is said to be able to predict the weather for the coming winter in the area where it grows. When the fruit is cut in half, the inside is one of 3 shapes. That is a white color, a fork, a spoon, or a knife. The fork should split in 2 at the top of the shape. If the shape looks like this, it will be a mild winter. The spoon looks like a teardrop that is fat at the bottom. If it is a spoon, it is said there will be so much snow you'll need to shovel it. The knife looks like an oval with a point at the top. If it is a knife, it is said that it will be bitterly cold with cutting winds. I know people who 100% believe this and treat it like gospel, making sure to check every year and plan for the winter accordingly. I know others who do not believe it at all. I have not done this before, and I don't really know which side of this to fall on for this one. Number 4, if it thunders in December, it will snow in May. This is a saying that my Native American grandmother used to tell me. If it stormed so much that you heard thunder in December, it was going to snow in May. This is something I have watched over the years. I've only had about a dozen or so years where I've heard thunder in December. But I can tell you that while it didn't always snow in May, we did get very late snows and even later frosts. This affected our planting seasons for the garden. Remember, this one is very likely localized to Tornado Alley and maybe not even all of it. Tornado Alley's pretty big. Many places and tribes have weather predictions that do not work in other places. This is something to think about for specific regions and something that could change if they move locations. Number 5. A ring around the moon. Moon rings, also called lunar rings, storm rings, or halo. A ring around the moon is most likely to happen in the winter, although it can happen any time of year. These rings are normally bright and very pretty. They happen when light reflects off of ice crystals. In case you haven't guessed what that means, it means snow is coming within the next 24 hours. It could also mean rain if this happens outside of wintertime. Fun fact! Did you know that according to the Farmer's Almanac, lunar halos are fairly common? Now you do. Now for everyone's favorite part, what could possibly go wrong? Well, let me tell you. Likely to go wrong? Your characters could argue with other characters over whether the woolly bear caterpillar or even the persimmon's fruit can predict the winter weather. Also likely to go wrong, your character is giving so many contradicting ideas of what weather predictions are true and what is not that they don't know what to believe. This could lead to hard feelings if things are taken out of context. Also likely to go wrong, your character could be told the Red at Night Sailor's Delight rhyme, but they're colorblind, making this rhyme not very useful to them. Possible to go wrong, your character cannot see the ring around the moon because there are too many clouds in the way. Also possible to go wrong, your character was looking at the persimmons and they could not tell shapes apart. This is a skill that can take a little time to learn. Unlikely to go wrong, your character moves and the weather sayings that were true where they lived before are no longer true where they currently live. Also unlikely to go wrong, your character misreads the persimmon nuts and plans for a mild winter, but the winter turns out to be cold and harsh. Improbable, but still technically in the realm of possibilities. Your character is new to sailing, and when they see the red sky, they frantically sound the alarm to all the others that a horrible storm is imminent. The whole crew could laugh at them. It would be even worse if your character was right and nobody believed them. You can find this episode's show notes and helpful links to learn more on my website, AlleyHart.com. That's ALLEYHART.com. Thanks for listening. Subscribe and follow for more episodes. Connect with me on my YouTube videos by dropping me a comment. A new episode comes out every Monday. Until then, happy wordsmithing!